Alright, so the first thing you'll want to do is install the progress bar plugin published by Bubble. Once you do that, the progress bar element will become available for you here under the visual elements list, right there. Okay, so the progress bar element also lets you style it a number of different ways with the colors, what the percentage display looks like. I usually choose to hide this percentage, that's just my personal preference. The way that I do that is I make the transparency of this font here completely transparent, so I take that all the way down and then it disappears. You can also add a roundness to the bar, which is a very modern looking progress bar there. And it's up to you to how you want to style this so that it can fit within your app. Now the important setting here for animating the actual progress of this bar is going to be at this percentage field. This takes a number value as a percentage, so I can type in 10. You can see that the progress bar is there at 10% of the full length there, of the full width. If I type in 100, it'll fill up the whole bar. If I do 50%, it'll fill up halfway, okay? So the way that we're gonna change this value dynamically through workflows so that it's kind of happening in the background and the user doesn't have to do anything is we'll use a custom state. The custom state is like a temporary value. We'll be changing it every, I don't know, quarter to half to full second so that we get this nice little animation effect. So I'm gonna click on this inspector icon up here and add a new custom state. I'm gonna call this state percentage, and it will be a number. Okay, so now we have this custom state. So this percentage value here, instead of it being a hard number that I type in, I'm actually going to set it to the value of the custom state. The progress bars, whoops, here we go, the progress bars percentage. Okay, and this value we will be setting and changing in the workflows. Now to demonstrate this, I'm just going to add a button to start the animation. But normally you'll want, whatever workflow it is that takes a little while to trigger this workflow that I'm about to create here, or maybe upon page load. It really depends on where this is fitting within your app. I'm going to use a button for simplicity's sake for this demo. Okay, I'm just trying to style it like that, and let's just call this start. Okay, so before I begin a workflow with that, I'm going to first, upon page load, set the state of the progress bar percentage to 0, just because it's fine if we started out at that number as soon as the page is loaded. When I hit start, that's when I'll have it start to animate. So when the page is loaded, I'm going to set state to the progress bar percentage state, and then we'll set this to 0. Okay, so that way it starts out at the bottom. Now, when I click start, we'll start a workflow for that. I'm going to set state again, so I'm just overriding that number value, set state, progress bar, percentage, and I'm going to start this out at 10%. Then I'm going to add a pause right after this action. So under navigation, add a pause before next action. I'm going to add a pause of, we'll do 1 second, just this default right here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this set state action, I'm going to copy it, paste it here, and I'm going to increase the percentage. Let's just go 30%. So I'm going to repeat this process of changing the state to a slightly higher percentage and then adding another pause before we increase the percentage again. So I'm going to add my pause, we'll do another second, I will increase my state to 50% here. Let's add a slightly shorter pause so that we get more of a less uniform animation and more of like a, it's kind of thinking it moves a little bit faster, it moves a little bit slower. So we'll do 1/4 of a second there. And I'm going to set my percentage here to, let's do 80%. Okay, and then one more pause. Let's do a second again. Let's do half a second actually. And then we'll finally land at 100%. All right, so right with this entire sequence, we're animating that percentage so that it kind of grows on its own, and by setting the length of pauses in between each percentage change, you can give this effect of like, it's thinking a little bit, it's kind of hanging on one level, and then it'll increase to the next level. Maybe it'll stay there for a little bit less time. So you want to try to make it as realistic as possible. This is just an example. You could obviously make this work however you want, whatever you want it to look like. I'm just kind of showing you how you can achieve this animation effect. So I'm going to preview what we have so far. So remember, on page load, on page load we will set the state to 0, so it kind of starts at the bottom there. Now when I hit start, it's going to kick off that animation. All right. Now that bar that was at the top of your browser screen here, you can actually turn that off by checking this box here on the pause actions to hide that status bar. And then we won't have so much going on this page. But if you notice, when our progress bar here grows, it's not completely uniform because I didn't have the same amount of pauses in between each percentage change. There we go. So right now I'm using these pauses to kind of simulate, needing to wait for something. But you can replace these pauses with the actual actions that you have in your workflow in your app that take some time. Maybe it's the generation of a PDF, maybe it's signing up a user, maybe it's making some change to the database that requires a lot of searching and filtering, and therefore it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so this is more of like the bare bones concept that you can use to create this effect and give your users a more interesting experience. All right, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I upload videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching.